boy. I love this song. I love this cover of the song. I'm not biased at all. It's only the band I manage. It's fine. Oh, man. We played and having fun. I'm a terrible singer, but I love this. Okay, let me move the Pomodoro timer. I'm still setting up, and that is my bad. Um, I just needed to get some stuff done. What I need is like, there we go. Whew. Pomodoro timer wasn't working for me for a second. All right, so that's done, and then let's make sure that we're capturing some music. Cool, cool, cool. All right, y'all. Let me pause the music here. And thanks for joining. I'm really excited. So I was actually thinking about doing something a little bit different in this stream because I've covered a lot of different items. Um, and I've covered a lot of like items in depth about specifically the balance sheet. That's what we've been targeting. And what I'm understanding so far, like let's see, I'm gonna go over just all the stuff that I've gone over essentially is what increases with a debit, what decreases with a debit. Um, Minor questions, like what defines an asset versus equity? What is cash versus accrual accounting? What is double entry? Um, why are account payables not business expenses? What is the difference between an expense and a liability? Tracy has been fantastic, just really walking me through all these things. So the official, understanding the official accounting equation, um, breaking down the balance sheet, and even giving me some practice exercises. What are a statement of cash flows, P&L statements, and how that applies to like employee income and everything. Where does the money come from? Assets, liabilities, equity accounts. So all that stuff has been awesome, and I'm very happy to that I feel like I'm getting somewhere. I am. I think today what I'm gonna be focusing on is kind of. Hang on, just a second. I'm trying to focus on like, I want to understand accounting, yes, but also my notes are kind of a mess, and I want to be able to build flashcards. So I think today it's going to be more of like a reorganization, restructuring type of session, and um, I'm gonna play a video in the background instead of the Pomodoro timer like I usually do. Uh, just am I don't know. I didn't structure this one as well as I structured the ones in the past. So we'll figure it out as we go. So what we'll do is I'm going to put up my Pomodoro timer, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to review the notes and everything that we've covered so far. And yeah, we'll go from there. That sounds like a good idea to me. So let's get started.
We spent 3,000.
boy. Okay. I've been editing some stuff, and I'm excited. I'm excited about some of the stuff I've been working on. So on the Notion that I'm working on, let me see if I can like share it, because I'm proud of what I'm organizing. Um, but while I get that set up, the if I can like the live stream page is just kind of crazy to manage. But so basically, what I'm excited about is the fact that like, so I'm learning again. Oh, let me backtrack a little bit. Okay, so I'm learning again about the different kinds of businesses. And I think I'm understanding because like different businesses will need different accounting practices and all that stuff. And something that now re-reviewing, like going back and reviewing what a lot of the businesses are, like, you know, proprietorship, partnership, corporation, has been helpful now that I have like further knowledge about different accounting types to go back and see what these like what would work for them. So like for example, if I am Jay who is joining a new firm and I join a sole proprietorship, then I'm gonna handle things differently than I would a corporation. But the level of detail that has to go into each is also different. Like the tax filing and everything remaining tax compliant, the rules essentially are different. I still have a lot of questions that I noticed like I never actually answered for myself. I don't know how relevant these questions are, but like for example, the types of businesses I have, like who determines what is considered a small business? And I know there's an answer for that online because I remember back when I worked in fraud that we didn't have a definition of what is considered small, but we did take into account the industry definition of like what is considered a small business. But I don't remember what that was. So I know it's out there somewhere. I just haven't actually looked it up. But other questions is like what defines a liability, including joint versus several liability. And I'm curious if when we're talking about liability in terms of the kind of business, are we talking about it as like if somebody gets hurt outside your business, liability, or are we talking about accounting liability? You know, like what are your short-term debt would count as a short-term debt, wouldn't it? Um, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at so far. But it's been interesting going back, seeing the fact that I even thought of how accounting plays a role in defining what a liability is when it comes to business ownership. That's progress, yay. But yeah, and the other question I had was like, who determines how many shares a corporation is worth? Like, if I own 1,000 shares of a company, what does that mean? Like, what does does the company have 2,000 shares, 3,000, 4,000? How do you know that you have more shares available? And is there like a finite limit? Like, is there a finite number of shares that a company can have before it like levels up? And how do you determine that? So I guess those are the questions that I don't think I ever really found an answer for. And I don't know that I will have an answer right away. But it's good to edit my notes and see that that's where I'm starting to hiccup on. And I feel like understanding that more businessy aspect, not so much accounting, but more businessy aspect of it, is going to help me visualize in my brain how accounting plays a role in the business management overall. Not that I don't like already have a visual on it, but like I think it would help me really personalize my approach when it comes to like if I'm handling a customer concern or something like that, and I see that it's a firm with one lawyer and one paralegal and that's it, that's all you have. Okay, well, that I now understand a little bit more of like what are the accounting challenges they might have versus, you know, a corporation that has like 20 attorneys and like 15 paralegals or something like that, you know. So that's why I'm digging into that part of it. Also, you know, the basics of the accounting principles gap versus what is the international like regular stuff, and the principles and the not the rules, but like the qualitative characteristics. And there is the time. So let's shift over to continuing work. Okay, I am going to end it here. Um, Thank you so much for joining. So some of the stuff that I did, and I completely forgot to show some of the work I did, and I'm excited about it, so I'm gonna show it. Give me a quick second to find the window capture. Yes, give me the window capture. Perfect. Okay, I should be able to. Boom, there we go. So some of the stuff that I've been doing is really just making all these notes and editing these notes. So for example, Introduction to Accounting Principles. And the idea is that this is the video that I've been watching on my free time to study legal accounting. And I basically just broke it down into what is GAAP, the qualitative characteristics of accounting practices, and the 9 accounting principles. Honestly, it basically just boils down to think of it honestly boils down to just logic. Think of the scientific method and how the scientific method needs to be peer reviewed. It needs to be relevant. It needs to be able to be reproduced. It needs to be accurate, consistent. So that's pretty much what it's going for. And then when we're talking about types of businesses, I broke down here, and I do need to tidy this up a little bit, but these are some of the questions that I kind of still need answered. But you know, between partnership, corporation, and proprietorship, just a general, like what is each? I do know that law firms have to go by a specific naming type of thing. Like you can't, there's rules basically on how you can name your law firm. So, and I plan on adding those notes there. Then the one that I was really digging into is what are financial statements and how do you analyze them? These are my notes. And so these are some of the examples that I actually had with Tracy, where she shared, for example, like she talked about the fundamental accounting equation, assets equal liability plus equity. And what is each? Now to me, this is very abstract for me, so I ended up just breaking it down to the example that Tracy gave me, which is think of it like a house. The asset is the total value of the home. The liability is what you owe on that home. The equity is the remaining value of that home. And so everything that you do on one side of the equation affects the other side. And then we have the different types of financial statements. So these are things that, you know, accountants need to know about, because these are the things that are going to keep the law firm running and compliant. Balance sheet, statement of equity, statement of cash flows, income statement. And then, you know, where do you find funding for a law firm? How do you make money? How do you find that money? So this is sources of financing. And then where I left off is analyzing transactions, debits and credits, and how that affects a law firm's financial records. So next up, I'm going to start breaking down what qualifies as an asset, what qualifies as liability, and what qualifies as equity. And from there, we can move on to diving into, again, if with assets, specifically assets and liability, we go into trust accounting. So yeah, hopefully I can get there while I'm off. I am going on PTO, so I will see you all later. Hopefully I'll be able to do the stream tomorrow still. I know that I'm not technically working tomorrow, but I'd like to still continue it. Just so that I can remain consistent in my studies. So, yeah, I'll talk to you later.